before we go any further, what I want you to make sure that you do is to take a pant hanger and to hang your pieces. So now you've put your darts in, you've pressed them. What you do not want to do is to ram this into your school backpack or shove it into a plastic fabric place bag. What you want to do is to take a hanger, a pant or a skirt hanger, and take your fabric down where it's not sewn and hang it up, okay? It's going to save you so much time in the end. So take good care of your work. The next step is to prepare the canvas. So what I'm going to have you do to make this process a little simpler is to completely canvas the jacket. So you can take your horsehair and you can cut out your front just as you are for your fashion fabric and your back just as you are for your fashion fabric. You do not have to horsehair the sleeves. Those, as we've talked about before, will want to be a little bit softer. So what you're going to do is to mark everything very clearly using your tailor's chalk. You can use your, make sure you put in your roll line only for now, and make sure that you mark in your darts so that it's very clear exactly where your darts are going. What we're going to be doing is cutting these out and sewing them to tape. So here is my canvas that has been cut out and marked up, and I've actually taken my scissors and cut along the stitching line where the darts belong. So you can see here, this is my dart that goes into my armhole, and then I've cut out my other, what I call fisheye dart here. Those are going to now be closed by abutting the cut lines, which are actually the stitch lines, and sewing them to tape. My next step is to take a piece of tape, and again, I'm going to be using my twill tape because I have a lot of it, but you can use seam binding. You can actually cut a bias strip of muslin, make sure it's on the bias, but you want to be able to have it be at least, at the very most, really a 1/2 inch wide. This is 3/8 of an inch wide and is actually working very nicely on here. I've done one seam already. So what I'm going to do is to take and measure the length of my dart, and I'm going to cut it longer than what I need because I can always trim off. Okay, I've done this here. I'll flip this over and then explain to you what I've done here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the tape behind the dart. Leaving again some length at the bottom here. And I'm going to stitch, and I'm going to just single stitch up along half the tape. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and you can see I've done this here on this side. I've sewn the one side up. My next step is to take the unsewn side and to put it right abut it to the sewn side. So now I'm going to have 2 rows of stitching when I'm done. So now you can see I've sewn both sides. I've abutted my cutout dart here. If I flip it over my stitching, your stitching does not need to be perfect on the other side. It's fine if it's not completely perfect, because my next step is going to be to go back in now, and I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way. And now I've assured that I've caught it both vertically and horizontally, so you'll be good to go. So here are both of my darts completed. I've stitched down the two sides where the cutouts were abutted, and then I've zigzagged across them. So now I'm just going to take time to clean up the threads. Again, you don't have to back tack here because it's not going to really get any abrasion. This is all going to get buried inside the jacket. It's not really going to fall apart. You don't have to cut your threads too close either. And then what I want to do is to flip it over. And on this side, you can see what's happened, particularly on this one. This one came out a little better than this one. So here now, what I want to do is to just take and again clip my threads, but also cut my tape to the stitching at an angle. And that'll just ensure when things are cut on the bias, they end up not fraying as much. And again, this isn't going to fray very much. So here too I can show you, kind of clean up my threads and trim this back a little bit. And then of course, what I'm going to do is to give this a good press in the end. Okay? And that's how you put your darts in your canvas. So now I've shown you how to put your darts in your canvas, how to put your darts into your jacket so you can get your darts going in. This of course goes for all the darts, not just the front, for all of your darts. You can see my shaping happening here. So I know I'm good to go. I've got kind of bumps where I really want them. So it's telling me that I'm good to go. Okay, so off you go.